All right, the second chakra that we're going to talk about today is the sacral chakra. It's located kind of in our uterus area or the bowels. It has an orange color. It has to do with the elements and senses of water and taste. It has to do with codependency and sexuality, kind of related in that way to the root chakra. It has the frequency of the note D on the treble clef. This one. It has to do with the reproductive organs, controls the pelvic area, sex organs, potency, fluid functions, kidneys, and bladder. Carnelian, coral, gold, calcite, moonstone are some of the stones that support the sacral chakra. Damiana, gardenia, sandalwood, and ylang-ylang are some essential oils that help with this chakra. Primal feelings, it has to do with primal feelings, sexuality, desire, sensuality, procreation, pleasure, awe, enthusiasm, relationships, union with nature, openness to others, and personal creativity. Some of the positive statements that have to do with the sacral chakra: I feel my creativity streaming through my body, soul, and mind. My creative and sexual energy has the power to create and transform. Very, very true. Our creativity is very, very connected to our sexuality. And if we have problems in that area because of abuse, we can also have problems in our creativity. I open myself to others naturally, and I feel statements are connected to the sacral chakra. Foods that help support this is apricots, carrots, mangoes, oranges, peaches. I have no idea. Persimmons, I don't know what that is, pumpkins, and tangerines. Okay, from the sacral chakra, creativity center, we get a large sense of support from life, a real feeling of trust in one's own decisions, and in the ability to adjust with whatever results. Okay, so this is how you would feel if you had a balanced sacral chakra. If you had a blocked chakra, you would have issues of creativity, sexuality, nurturing, and guilt. People who are blocked here feel they haven't received enough nurturing. They avoid disappointment. Blockages here either throw them into shutdown or into the giving mode. They'll do things for everybody else and not leave room for anything to come back, just in case there isn't enough love. Anorexia and bulimia issues can be second chakra issues. If this chakra is completely closed, you might not be able to see sufficient support, recognition, or nurturing from surroundings. You could tend to give up to avoid disappointments, and you could feel very alone. If this chakra is too expanded, it might look like extending out to nurture and take care of everyone around you. Frequently takes on everything for others, are at the expense of self, and couldn't think of putting self first. Okay, so this chakra is said to develop between the ages of 6 months to 2.5 years. So if you had a trauma during this time, or to that area of the body, say like a C-section, this can cause some imbalance in this area. 2-year-olds. Anger is the main form of communication for 2-year-olds. Decisions about anger. Dyslexia about communication. I want what I want when I want it now. Rules of the game changes. Okay, so the physical symptoms of a child who's struggling with the veil closing. Veil closing is when we have less communication or ability to connect with God, with our ancestors, our guardian angels. Okay, at this, if we have struggles in this area of life with veil closure, we might have seizures. Seizures have to do with checking out because there's lots of trauma or discord or something going on in the home. Night terrors, not sleeping, stress on the hypothalamus gland. Okay, possible issues to work through in a process. So in like EMDR or in EFT or NLP. Veil issue, work through separation with God. Use a door or a curtain. So instead of having a wall between you and God, maybe imagine a door or a curtain that can open at times. Siblings being born is sometimes something to work through with 2-year-olds. Trauma, a move maybe. Okay, baby is 0 to 2. They need to be understood again. They observe, they watch what's going on around them, they sponge other people's emotions, they perceive what is going on around them is because they are there and they feel that they are the cause. If trauma happens during this time, they will need to find understanding about the trauma before they will understand someone else. At age 2, physical and spiritual transition. Rules of the game change. Feel more expectations placed on them to mature. Maybe another sibling is born and they're expected now to not be the baby, but to grow up and start, buttoning their own shirt or something, or learning to go potty in the big girl body. Decisions about anger are made at this time, at age 2. They start choosing to adopt or reject the parent's style, independence and freedom, me-centered, a great need to be number one at this age. Ego develops, fear of separation, realizing I'm not connected to mom. Me and mom are not the same. I am my own person. The bladder is connected to the sacral chakra. I am in charge of my life is a positive direction, and need for approval or other people control me is the negative side of this. Okay. The bladder, again, is connected to this and the kidney. I'm in charge of my life was the positive affirmation for the bladder. I respect others' space. I'm respected. I'm free. I respect others' property. I spend money wisely. I save. I make wise investments. The kidney has to do with I love being alive or I'm afraid of being alive. Fears, phobias, procrastinations show up here. Some of the affirmations for kidney: I am loved and accepted. I express sexuality appropriately. I am reliable. I overcome and am victorious. I take risks with ease. Challenges motivate me, and I allow myself to receive as well as I give. Okay, desirability is something that is affected by this chakra. I am desirable or I am undesirable. Okay, so positive affirmations. I am attractive. I have a pleasing personality. I have charisma. I am pleasing to God. I have sufficient goods to meet my goals. The testes and ovaries are connected to this chakra as well. The emotional connection to the male reproductive organs would be rejecting masculinity and balance between the male and female energy, male power or lack thereof. For the ovaries, the emotions connected to the ovaries are feelings of loneliness and a desire to feel love and respect Also feeling inadequate in the sexual role. The ovaries can be affected by, and the testes can be affected by like tubal ligations being tied off. So that's something to think about as well, because our bodies just have energy systems running all through, you know, just like we have nerves and veins and all sorts of things running through our body. We also have those energy centers, and when we cut the body, it affects the body. But we don't need to just assume that it's over. I had myself 9 surgeries, 3 of them, the C-sections, with my ovaries being tied off before I understood this. But I often, when I feel pain in my ovaries, if I'm paying attention to my body, sometimes I can feel that. And when I feel that, I kind of like to imagine the energy going through the stitches that are through there, and just imagine my ovaries being connected again. And the same with the uterus. I had 3 C-sections because of my hip surgeries, and yeah, if you can just imagine that energy being whole and being able to run through that scarred area. There are also shots that are available that help to, and I'll have to look up the name of those, but that can help with energy flow going through a scar, if that's something that you are interested in. Okay, ureter or urethra, emotions connected to urinary infections, putting blame on others for your problems or allowing another to irritate you. I've had this problem a lot with my, I guess, my whole adulthood and maybe some of the older teenage years. And I think that being sexually active, for example, and bringing a husband into my home and life and bed caused a lot of these problems for me. The irritation and the infections is usually something festering, and so I think this had to do with having to deal with a husband and sex after having sexual abuse and rape. So that's something to think about. Bladder, emotions. Sorry, these notes are kind of scattered, but back to the bladder, the emotions are repression of sexual feelings, inharmonious male and female emotional relationships, sexual identity going unexpressed, unable to release things or ideas that are no longer needed, feels over concerned with survival issues, money, job, health, lack of order, or obsessed with order. Ileocecal valve is associated with headaches and has to do with toxins being backed up. Emotions connected to the ileocecal valve, usually an indication of parasites or parasitical relationships, which I found very, very true in my job, in my business, helping people detox. People who had a lot of trauma in their lives tended to have a lot of parasites as well, because that energy is connected. Feeling angry at life, allowing feelings to rule you rather than you feeling feelings. Feeling forced, and unacceptance or hostility from someone. Okay, so I'm sorry if there are repeats, but I hope you find something valuable in there.